Well, hi guys, hopefully this finds you very well. My name's Paul, this is Plan Z, and welcome to this first little session on fuzz. In this session we're going to be focused a little bit on the Big Muff, but I've got set up a couple of other fuzzes for us. What we've got is a bank of Voxes. Here's my medium gain. I've got another medium gain here. We can have stereo amps, and in here, if we go into the patch, I've got, after my noise suppression here, but before my EQ set, this is really important. If you've been following the channel, you know I've been building different EQ sets and experimenting with tones. I'm trying a different one today. It's only slightly different in the high end. I'll do a separate video on that to keep this one short. But in here, we've got a 60s fuzz. Now I've got in another area of my GT1000 a little shooting gallery where I've set up some different amps with all the fuzzes, and we're going to dial in all the fuzzes and see what they can do in the different amps. They'll respond in different ways through different amps and cabinets, different things, different EQ sets. So today we're doing a Vox. Now we've got a 60s fuzz in here, and I've been using this in a jam. Let's just turn that on. Now I've got noise suppression coming on after it that's set to input of the noise suppression, but it's the interactive noise suppression that Jared Gunston did a video on. Props to Jared. It's a brilliant technique. Now here I'm in a medium gain amp, and I've got a low gain amp, and I've got this drive up at 100, and my tone will change between the gain stages to help level me, okay? Sometimes I need to adjust the level here depending on the fuzz and the amp I'm using, and sometimes I'll take bass out of here, but I'll always, pretty much always have about 2 of my direct mix coming in. I find it helps the fuzzes along. So what we'll do is, I've got net pickup of the Les Paul. I'm going to pull back my gain pot to about 7. I've got the fuzz on. We're in the medium gain amp. We can go stereo. Back up the middle. Now, we can change the gain stage now, so I'm going to go to a low gain. Now if I want, I think I've got a oh no, that's a centaur. Oh, let's try it, let's see what happens. Back my gain pot. Hang on. Yeah, cool. So what we'll do in other sessions, I'll show you how to dial this in different ways, and even use, sorry, the fuzz, even using the fuzz as a boost rather than a full-on fuzz. So yeah, that's how, for example, this patch here. Let me just come out of there, actually, I don't need to. Let's go to the patch next door, where I'm running higher gain amps here. So here I'm running a medium gain, but with the gain on 110. And when the fuzz I've got in here is the octave fuzz. Now here, I've got my drive really low. Okay, so let's just hear what we've got as our starting point. Gain pot on the neck on about 8. Let's put the fuzz on. Now if I want more of the octave and feedback, obviously I'm going to bring this up. Let's crank this a bit. Let's just try a bit more to 50. gain pot back a bit. Taking my tone pot back. And I'm going to leave that there set like that for the little moment. Now here I've taken a little bit of the low end out because obviously we're dealing with higher gain here, so I just want to pull that back a little bit to help my mix up. Let's just save that patch. I think I made a change, didn't I? So now let's go to the patch next door, which is really the focus of the first one we're going to kind of look at. Now in here I've got two amps, an A and a B. The A amp, sorry, the bottom amp is a clean amp. Let's pull up the gain pot, let's pull up the tone. Okay, I think it's a low gain, is it? Yeah, it's a low gain, and this one's a medium gain. But I've dialed it in quite conservatively. It's only got a bit of hair, so let's go there. Okay, so they're the kind of two gain stages we're going to play with within this. I do have, rather than going to a high gain here, I just drive the gain and stick on noise suppression. And a couple of changes happen in the back end of the amp here, but we'll talk about that in a separate session. Let's not get distracted. So, let's hear Big Muff. Let's start off with, let's start off. Let's go to the low gain. And you can hear there we're getting two very different kind of tones, and I want to show you how I would use this and how I've dialed it in. So I'm driving the gain at about 90. You know, my old Big Muff, I used to crank it all the way, but it's, you know, in the digital realm, there's different rules. So I'm only kind of cranking to about 90. And again, with the tone, I would normally crank this quite high as well. But this is a very clean amp, so we get a lot more of the highs. So with the tone, you'll notice here, as I go between the gain stages, I'm just going to flick between the amps now. You'll notice this tone changes quite radically with the Big Muff. I go from +7 to +37, okay, to kind of get myself to a place where I got the tones that I wanted, okay. Now, the level here is on maximum. When we go into the deep dive on the Big Muff, I'm going to pull it around, see if we can use it in a boost in the same way. But usually with your Big Muff, you just want to crank it and get going. So that's the strategy I've taken in this first session. Now, I am finding it prudent with the Big Muff to take out quite a chunk of the bass. I think I've taken out 10 there. And it's the same on both of the gain stages. And here I like to, as I mentioned, commonly put in 2 of the dry mix. I think I can't hear it, but I feel it in the tone, and I can kind of hear the difference it makes sonically, but I can't hear the dry mix, if that makes sense. It's very subtle. So whilst we're here with this bottom, we're in the low gain. Let's we could shape our tone slightly here just by dropping this out and get more. Where was I? 90. But that's just containing it a bit more for me. I think I'll probably get more into that in the deep dive. What I want to show you here is and this is kind of more for people who, let's say, did I make any changes? I can't remember if I made any changes there. I'm going to do this. just gonna come out of there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna layer up some fuzzes. What do you mean, layer up fuzzes? How can you layer up fuzz? It's just going to sound like a racket, right? Well, let's see. Let's see what we can do. I've been experimenting a little bit already. Now, so in here, we're going to start off some beats and some drums. I hope this works. So, we're in the patch where we've got the 60s fuzz. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to both pickup positions. Your fuzz control is all in your pickup, so I'm going to pull back the neck pickup to about half, but leave my bridge pickup on about 8.5. Okay, that's making the tone thinner. Leaving all of my tones up, I'm going to flick the amp over to one side, stick on some verbs. Okay, so that's fuzz number 1. And for my fuzz number 2, I'm going to stay in the same patch. I'm just going to take off the wets. What we'll do is let's just pull this camera out so you can see the buttons. So I've taken off the wets. I'm just going to change the gain stage. I'm going to go to the neck pickup now, and I'm going to bring my neck pickup up to about 8. Okay, now we've got that fuzz in. I think we need something to have a little bit of a contrast. So we'll stay in this patch, we'll go to the other ear, we'll take off the fuzz and just put on a compression using both pickup positions. Let's see if we can't put in something a bit. Okay, and we're going to stay like that now for a minute. So now let's try 2 different fuzzes. We've got my driven gain that's got this fuzz is particularly good for solo. Okay, so now what I wanted to show you with the Big Muff is we've got the 2 gain stages, okay? So I'm just going into manual mode. Let's turn on this fuzz. What I want to do, before we do that, let's just, to show you how dynamically I want it to work, let's just turn all of that back a little bit. So what I want to do is, just to help my session along, I'm just going to very, very quickly add in a little bit of atmosphere before I get rid of the other stuff. And then I want to show you how I'm going to use the 2 different gain stages with this Big Muff to keep the impact that I want, okay, in a mix. Hopefully this is going to work and make sense. So to start me off, I'm just going to engage my synth. Hang on. Okay, sorry that took a little moment. What I'm going to do now is turn all of these guys off. We're going to start off in, when it's red, I'm in the slightly hairy amp. So let's hear that amp on its own. Okay, and when it's blue, I'm in the cleaner amp, okay? But I'm going to engage the Big Muff, and I'm going to have a shed load of reverb on. Now when I come in, I'm going to get lost in the mix if I stay in this setup. I'm going to need to, or want to, get rid of my big reverb. But when everything comes crashing in, I'm going to need more presence. So I've just gone dry now. Now I would have gone dry when the thing comes crashing in, but what I'm going to need to do is engage my low gain and have that cut through, and it actually will almost feel the same in the mix, if that makes sense. So let's just, I'm going to put that verb on, just do a couple so we orientate our ears, and then hopefully I'll come crashing in and it will make sense. All the Poco one. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this first session. You got an idea that, you know what, fuzz, you think about layering 3 or 4 different fuzzes and you go, can you even do that? Well, with my GT1000 I just did, using my RC 505 looper with my 600. Yeah, interesting. That sounded good in the room. Hopefully it sounds good when it goes to YouTube. And hopefully the next session, when we dive deeper into these fuzzes in the patches I've got set up below, yeah, will be interesting and fun. Catch you later. Bye.